Welcome to the Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge. This 6-mile auto tour was created for some fantastic wildlife viewing from your vehicle. And the idea is rather simple. If you stay in your vehicle, the wildlife won't be frightened away, and this allows you to enjoy their wild behavior and take in some breathtaking scenes. Now drive slowly. You never know what you might see or hear at the next opening in the marsh. When everybody uses their vehicle as kind of a blind, to remain hidden, this tour offers some excellent wildlife viewing. Look for the pelican sign. Now this signifies the park and stretch areas, which offer unique viewing opportunities. We encourage you to get out of your vehicle at these special sites. The first park and stretch area is at a multi-level platform located halfway along the tour by Logan Creek. It offers a unique panoramic view of the Sacramento Valley and the seasonal marsh and meandering creeks in the area. Now, spotting scopes are also available. These are on the platform for spectacular close-up views of wildlife. The other park and stretch area is at ground level further along the auto tour. Here, you can enjoy identifying and listening to a variety of birds like the snow geese with their high-pitched barks, or the red-tailed hawks as they have a harsh descending screech. As you cruise along the uplands with its salt grass and vernal pools, you can get a glimpse into the past when much of the refuge was flat and treeless and dry. The Sacramento Refuge is part of an area called the Colusa Plains, and it's not always had the seasonal marshes and year-round ponds that you see today. In the uplands, look for the black-tailed jackrabbits as they eat the green plant sprouts, brilliantly colored ring-necked pheasants pecking around for insects, or perhaps the northern harrier hawks gliding swiftly, tilting side to side, looking around for mice and other rodents. The northern harrier is the only hawk that has a white rump. For thousands of years, the Sacramento Valley has provided a winter haven for ducks and geese and swan. Each winter, as snow blankets the Arctic areas of Siberia, Canada, and Alaska, covering the land and their food, waterfowl are forced to migrate south to find more bountiful places. Just as we use the highways to travel, millions of waterfowl migrate here on their highway in the sky. They call it the Pacific Flyway. After traveling thousands of miles, waterfowl like the snow and Ross geese arrive here to rest and feed in the vast wetlands and uplands of the Sacramento Valley. Only the careful observer can tell these geese apart. Let's see if you can. Now, the snow and the Ross geese are both white. They both have black wingtips, but only the snow geese has what kind of looks like a black grinning patch around the edges of their bill. Now you know. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, changes began in the Sacramento Valley, which would influence waterfowl and people forever. Natural habitat was slowly replaced with farm crops, primarily rice. Cities started to sprawl all across the countryside, yet the birds continued to fly their ancient routes, crowding into the smaller and smaller remaining wetlands. Waterfowl started substituting farm crops for their original wetland foods, and this caused serious conflicts with farmers. Levees were constructed to help confine the rivers for irrigation and flood control, limiting the creation of new wetlands. California's millions and millions of wetland acres dwindled to less than 300,000 acres, and that's only 5% of this former vast historic wetlands. Things look bleak for the waterfowl and the people. However, all was not lost. Communities and conservation agencies understood that more wetlands needed to be created. In the area around Willows, most of the natural area that remained undeveloped was dry, salty land. Most of the wetlands you see today were once farmed or used for pasture by the Spalding Ranch until 1937. That's when the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service purchased the ranch to create the Sacramento Refuge. During the recovery of the Great Depression, the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC as it was known, started creating wetlands here. Using bulldozers and tractors, wetland construction continued until 5 other refuges were created, forming the Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge Complex. These wetlands are almost entirely man-made and maintained making these refuges some of the best managed in the nation. More than 32,000 acres of wetlands and uplands are managed in an effort to mimic what the Sacramento River did 100 years ago. Flood during the winter, recede during the summer. Draining the marsh during late spring and summer encourages plant growth and concentrates insects and fish for the migrating water birds like the small black-necked stilts or the large fish-eating white pelicans. With an intricate system of canals and water-controlled structures, water from the Sacramento River is used to flood the seasonal marshes in the fall to make the seeds and the plants available for wildlife through the winter and spring. In addition to water management, controlled burns, and plowing, all of these are used to help keep the wetlands productive. Refuges are now islands of wetlands in a sea of agriculture. Together, the Sacramento Valley and these refuges still represent one of the most important areas for waterfowl to spend the winter. Now, the common habitats you'll see on the tour are seasonal marshes, dry uplands, and riparian forests along Logan Creek. Within the marshes, you may see the white-fronted geese tipping on in to kind of pluck stems and roots from the marsh bottom. Or maybe ducks nibbling seeds from the tops of the rice-like millet above the water. Look in the uplands or on the edges of the marsh for the dark brown Canada geese with their white chin strap, the widgeon ducks with their stately white crowns, and the gray-black coots.